Morning, folks. Welcome to a sunny late October morning. Sunny, but not terribly warm. Anyway, we're here in the little shop up at the cabin. I've rolled old Fergie out to give us a little room to talk and work. Also home of the world's most uneven workbench, but it's been standing for the last, 60 years, and hopefully it'll keep on standing. You see a theme here: old tractors, old outboards. Scott Atwater waiting for a little TLC. I don't know if you can see it all that well with the sun. Anyway, we've been talking about acquiring some gear for the little hydro my son and I are going to be building, and I've got a few more pieces to show you. This one I'm particularly excited about. It is a Johnson Shipmaster throttle and gear shift. This was very similar to the unit that was in my parents' boat, very much like the air guide speedometer I talked about, although their boat was was powered by an Evinrude ski twin, I think. Whatever the 33 horsepower, the one with the cowl that looked like a bullet. Ski twin or fast twin? Anyway, I'm sure many of you out there will know. So the throttle unit looked basically identical to that, although it was the Evinrude Simplex control versus this one here, which is the Shipmaster. I was delighted to find this because it's pretty complete, and it seems not in bad shape. So a little grubby, but we can clean that up. The throttle and the gear shift move freely. I love the design of this thing, the raised fins here, and just the generally old patina. I mean, I don't know if that knob used to be red or not, but I love the way it's faded into that sort of dull burgundy. Maybe it always was burgundy. I don't know. Anyway, so thrilled to find that nice heavy-duty piece. The guy who took it out of the boat also had the presence of mind to take this spacer plate, which I hadn't seen before, but it makes sense because, of course, some of the interiors of these old lapstrake boats had no interior liner, so you were bolted right to the hull, and the hull sometimes had quite a slope to it, and so that just allowed, I guess, the throttle system to stay vertical. The other great thing about this find are the ends. I was finding a lot of bits and pieces online. People were asking a pretty good buck for pretty incomplete stuff. So we have the adjusters, we got the connection, same thing for the throttle. There may be a small piece missing where it connects to the engine. I'll have to check that out. But anyway, almost, if not complete. And the cables are split free. They seem still fairly flexible. I think at one point it's possible that someone swapped out the gear shift knob. I'm not quite sure why this would be painted white while this was just the whatever silver color of that metal is, and the same with that shifter as well. So that may have been swapped out, but that can be stripped if it's proper to have them both the same color. Anyway, happy to find that. The other thing that I talked about in one of my early posts, or the first post, was the fact that I had a sea flea, or a small hydro, of my own when I was 15, 16, and that I used it for a couple of summers, and then it basically just fell apart because it was more or less a death trap to begin with. Anyway, I did keep up in ye old rafters for many years the steering wheel. So that's what I rescued from the boat. So here you go. That's what remains of my boat, basically, this little bit of dry rotted plywood. But the steering wheel, which is kind of neat, is it's an old Grue unit. When Grue was proudly made in Penetanguishene, Ontario. It's got this kind of neat friction control knob, and of course the drum. We'll get all new hardware in terms of good cables, good pulleys. I know there's a fair bit of debate online whether this is a particularly safe steering system. I think if you set it up well and maintain it, it's probably all right. Anyway, this is not a terribly high-powered boat that we're talking about. Now there is a lot of grime and grunge. I wish I had the presence of mind to take this off when I pulled the boat up and let it rot to pieces, because it actually looks like there's moss embedded in the steering wheel. So we're going to try and clean it up, and if it doesn't clean up, or if it proves to be just too cracked to be safe, we'll use something else. But be neat to have that in the boat, because when I was running around the lake, that's what I was using, and my own kid will be using the same. So we got the steering wheel, we got the remote, we have various gauges that we showed you, and of course the engine is undergoing some restoration. So all we need is the boat. Be ordering the plans for those soon. And it's an interesting boat in that you don't build the hull around the frames. You actually build the frames and set them into the hull. So I think we might be able to at least get some framework done in the winter, because it gets pretty cold around here. All right, thanks for tuning in, and we'll update you when we got more. Stay warm, folks.